What's going on, guys? And today I'm here with my top 25 roller coasters that I have ridden. Now, I've gotten the privilege to ride 328 different coasters, and I have ridden some fantastic coasters. Now, going into this, I do need to state that my opinions change often. You know, I just changed like a few spots right before making this video, so just keep that in mind, that my rankings may not be 100% set in stone. And you know, of course, I'll be riding new coasters and rewriting the coasters that I've ridden before. Kicking it off at number 25 was a pleasant surprise. This is HYDRUS at Casino Pier in Seaside Heights, New Jersey. This coaster pretty much has all the things you want in an enjoyable coaster. It's one of the smoothest coasters you'll ever ride. It has great inversions. It's right by the ocean, so you get some great views of the water, and has some intense moments to it. I wish I could have gotten to ride it more times, because I only got to ride it 3 times. I mean, it even looks stunning. I mean, that color scheme as green track and blue supports just pops, especially against the beach. But this coaster is hands down the best ride at Casino Pier, and it definitely makes me just want to come back to Casino Pier just for HYDRUS. Coming in at number 24, this is LEVIATHAN, located at Canada's Wonderland. Now, this coaster is a B&M Giga, the first of its kind, and it delivers a great ride experience. It's like an upscale hypercoaster, but it's a Giga, so it's going to have bigger stats. It's filled with lots of great floor airtime, and it's definitely a front seat ride. Now, I rode it both in the front and the back, and for sure I think the front is superior to the back, just because I'm a front guy, and in the front you get a little more wind in your face, and of course you're gonna get the first one to be over the airtime hills. MONTU at my home park, Busch Gardens, Tampa, is another B&M coaster on this list at the 23rd spot, and it is an invert. Now, this is my favorite invert, and I like the other inverts, but none of the other ones made this list, just because I'm not the biggest fans of inverts. I mean, they're still great rides, but I like, with all the other coaster models out there, I think those are better. But I mean, this is definitely my favorite, and it gives some very intense moments, like the Batwing element at the back, and there are actually trenches around the ride, which you go through, and they're very intense. Now, there are also 7 versions, like many other B&M inverts, and this coaster has made my list before, and will continue to now. Now, Top Thrill Dragster has made it to number 22, and is the second tallest coaster in the world, and the 3rd fastest. Now, you go from 0 to 120 miles per hour in 4 seconds, which is actually very impressive. And that launch is for sure the best part of the ride. After you launch, you shoot up, get a great view of Cedar Point while up 420 feet in the air, but then you go in a spiral back down to the finish line at the bottom. It is over fairly quickly, but is an adrenaline rush from start to finish. Now, another coaster at one of my home parks is MAKO at SeaWorld Orlando. It's my favorite B&M Hyper, just in front of Intimidator and Diamondback, and it's just a generally fun ride. And in my opinion, it gives the strongest airtime by a long shot out of all the other B&M Hypers. Now, it isn't the tallest B&M Hyper, it's 200 feet tall, but that doesn't take out anything out of the ride experience, because it's just that good. Next up is the new Texas Giant, coming in at number 20. Now, on this coaster, there is some fantastic airtime, some pretty intense moments, and an awesome drop like all of the RMCs out there. Now, this was the first RMC that I rode ever, and it was the first RMC built ever. And now, I've always loved this coaster, and for sure I think it is the best coaster at Six Flags over Texas, and I think it will be that for a long time. Boulder Dash has been ranked as the best wooden coaster in the world a couple times, and it delivers a one-of-a-kind experience. Now, it is nestled right up against the mountain at Lake Compounds, with an out and back layout filled with great ejector airtime and some floater airtime. Now, one thing to point out, a night ride on this is incredible. Now, it's very comparable to the Beast night ride, which you're going full speed through the trees when it's pitch black outside. You can't see anything. Now, you definitely need to get a night ride on this if you get a chance. Now, it was definitely more rough than I was expecting, but the layout makes up for it. The first of many new for 2018 coasters on this list, this is Twisted Cyclone, replacing the Georgia Cyclone at Six Flags Over Georgia. Now, this coaster is quick, but it's just so good. I mean, it doesn't have the best stats for an RMC, but it sure does pack a punch in the layout they had to work with. Now, it does get slower coming towards the end, but it pays off with all the great elements it has. I mean, you have the wave turn or reverse cobra roll like element, which is the first of its kind in the world, and of course it has a lot of ejector airtime hills. Now, it's just a great ride all around, and even though it's a short ride. Now, Phantom's Revenge is located at Kennywood, and it is well known for a lot of reasons. Now, one of them being it delivers like a lot of coasters on this list, great airtime. Now, the lap bars like barely even touch you, so of course you're gonna get fantastic airtime. And also, of course, its second drop is bigger than the first drop, which has it at the number 17 on my list. Now, Storm Chaser is a coaster that I just forgotten how crazy good it is. Every single element, you're just being flung around like a rag doll, and it is so intense and has some insane airtime, especially on the main ejector hill right after the inverted drop, which you can also find on Twisted Timbers too. Now, the inversions are awesome, and of course the airtime is fantastic. Now, the ride is a little short, but everything else makes up for it. Mystic Timbers, the first and only GCI on my top 25 coasters list, is an all-around fantastic coaster. It has an outback layout in the back of Kings Island that includes a ton of great airtime. You just going through the whole thing with tons of airtime, and it feels like it never lets up speed. You're flying through the course, element after element, airtime after airtime. It is just relentless, and that puts it at the number 15 spot. Oh yeah, don't forget about the shed. Lightning Run, the second coaster of the Great Top 2 at Kentucky Kingdom, is a coaster like I said in previous videos. I mean, I am so surprised, there are not more of these out there. I mean, they aren't that big, and I think they'll be a perfect fit for a park that is wanting a good coaster, and they're so fun. I mean, the airtime and crazy tight bank turns make up this coaster basically. It probably has some of the strongest airtime out there, especially during the multiple airtime hills during the end. You absolutely flying through those. Those are incredible. It's just endless non-stop airtime intensity, and that puts it at this spot on my list. Wicked Cyclone was a disappointment in my opinion, but it's such a fun ride. It does get a little sluggish near the end, but the elements are put together so well. I mean, there are elements we don't even see often on coasters, such as the sideways airtime hill where you go in and then go out a different way and you get flung around different directions, and of course the zero-G roll where you go into it upside down but you flip back the way you went into. And also, this ride is just so enjoyable, and that's why it's at this spot on my list. Millennium Force is a coaster that for a lot of people is their favorite coaster, but also a lot of people think that it is really overhyped. But your opinion on this coaster is based on what kind of coasters you like. I mean, Millennium Force is a very long ride where you are most of the time just gliding along the track. It's not the most intense, but it's so enjoyable, especially on the drop. I mean, the view is one of the best out there. You can see all of Cedar Point, Lake Erie, Canada if you're lucky, because sometimes it'll be foggy, and it has been voted so many times as the best roller coaster in the world. Now, even though myself and lots of enthusiasts thinks it's not the best coaster in the world, it still is a heck of a coaster and for sure deserves to be at this spot on the list. Let's move on to the third and not the last coaster at Cedar Point on this list. It is Maverick. This coaster has quick transitions, great airtime, is a very intense and long experience too. The theming is great. I mean, I can go on and on with all the upsides about this coaster has, but it packs a punch with big time with all the great elements put together, and that puts it at number 11. Now, SKYRUsh is another compact coaster on this list, but this one is unique in some ways. It is an Intamin Hyper, so it's 212 feet tall, but the rest of the ride after the drop is all over the water, filled with bank turns and airtime hills. Now, the ejector airtime hills are insane on SKYRUsh, as well as being very intense. Now, one downside about it is that the restraints are painful, not as much to me, but to some people. Now, it gives SKYRUsh the name Thigh Crush for some people, even though they have never bothered me, like I said earlier, but they do bother some people. Now, but again, I love all the airtime you get, and you're just flying through the course, and it's just non-stop craziness. At number 9 is Outlaw Run, located at Silver Dollar City. Now, yet another RMC to make this list, and let me tell you, there are a lot more to come. I mean, it is a wooden RMC, just like Lightning Rod at Dollywood, and actually features a lot of elements like Lightning Rod at Dollywood. I mean, you have a wave turn, lots of ejector airtime hills, and of course, they're both wooden coasters, but on its own, it's an outstanding ride. Every single moment It actually does feel like you're chasing Outlaw, like the theme Outlaw, you're chasing Outlaw, Outlaw Run. But you're speeding through the course, and it does feature some really good inversions too. Twisted Colossus is next, and I was blown away with this coaster. You can't help but love it. It's just so good. Now, the ride operators do have a hard time doing it, even though it may not deliver as good of a ride experience. Not doing it still is a fantastic ride, but when it is doing, it is that much better. Now, a coaster that I have gotten lots of experiences on, it is Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. It's for sure one of the best Giga coasters out there, and once you get your first ride on it, I was blown away. It is probably the most intense coaster in the world, especially after the first drop, where you quickly bank into a turn low to the ground, where you most of the time gray out and maybe even black out. It is that crazy. Now, the rest of the ride is filled with rapid transitions, low to the ground, and even some airtime hills. Now, some people are not fans of this coaster because of it being so intense, but I know lots of people are fans of Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. It does not disappoint. I mean, you are right up against the quarry wall the whole ride. I mean, the first drop is fantastic. All the airtime moments are fantastic, and especially that second drop right off the wall, it is crazy. I mean, don't even get me started on how crazy good this ride is. Now, El Toro is a coaster that almost all of the coaster community is in love with. I mean, who doesn't love it? I mean, it delivers some intense airtime in a very intense area. I mean, those hills are absolutely massive. This coaster is just so good. I have to put it up as high like I have before. Fury 325 is a coaster that I know a lot of people would call overrated, and even though it could be a little, it is so good though. It basically has everything you would want in a coaster, such as height, speed, intensity, airtime, smoothness, length. I could go on and on with how great it is. Now, going into my first ride a long time ago, I wasn't hyped up so much about it just because it was new, but I was blown away, and I bet everyone else was, and those are the reasons it is at my 4th spot. Now, Lightning Rod is at my number 3rd spot, and I've gotten to the chance to ride this coaster so many times, and after every single ride, my mind is blown away. It is non-stop action after every single element. The quadruple down is one of the best coaster elements ever. Now, a lot of people have not gotten the chance to ride just because this coaster used to break down a lot. It still does a little bit now, but of course, there's a very long history about this coaster operating time, but I've gotten so lucky that every single visit I've gone to Dollywood, which is a lot of times, it's been open. So definitely for sure, it's the best coaster at Dollywood for by far. Twisted Timbers is crazy great. It is so incredibly awesome that it made it to this spot. The airtime is the strong part about this coaster, and there is a ton of it. A lot. The inversions are great, and especially the layout is incredible. The use of the elements they could use is crazy. Even the theming is on point. With the orchard feel, it is an orchard, and the front they have this tree with steel running up it, and there's also a floating tractor. It's probably gonna become a meme, but just so hilarious, the floating tractor. But just randomly in the queue, floating tractor. But it's just definitely the ride experience is just insane. All of the elements are just crazy good, and it's definitely the best ride at King's Dominion. Now, what is my number 1 coaster I've ridden? I have no fitting words to say about this coaster. It is Steel Vengeance at my number 1 spot. When I got off it, I was just plain speechless. I just wanted to keep riding it over and over, again and again. Now, I did get some more rides on it, but I wanted to ride it way more than I did. I'm going to do that this summer, but the airtime is insanely incredible, especially at the end where you have 6 back-to-back ejector airtime hills at the end. It has the best, probably the best airtime on a coaster ever, and I bet it will be for a long time. Now, the versions are insane. Having 4 of them. It's pretty tall. Walking up to it, it looks huge. It's very fast. It's a crazy long ride, and it just goes on and on and on. So now I got to ride it twice in the front and twice in the back, and I got to say the front is better in my opinion. It's very close, but in the front, you're first one to get over the airtime hill, so it has better airtime most of the time than the back, and of course you're getting the wind in your face. But I would take any row on this ride. It is just that good, and that's why it's my favorite coaster I have ever ridden, and will be that for a long time. So let me know your guys' opinion in the comment section below, and I posted reviews of almost all of these coasters on my channel, so go check them out, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon, get notified when I post a new video. It helps a lot, and I'll see you guys later.